It's episode 10. We made it double digits. Welcome back to another episode of COCOVILLE Tuesdays. Right off the bat here, we got our first request for a street name. So we're going to go ahead and put Sports Monkey Street. I probably should have capitalized the M, but hey, next episode. So that's done. So yeah, if you want a street named after you, feel free to just put a comment in this video or any of the videos. And I'll do it on the next video that I record. And now we're back to sped back up to the usual 4 times speed just to keep things moving here, because realistically an hour of regular speed video would just be way too boring. So we have this area beside the industrial spot that we put, I believe, last episode, which was just there to try and stop us from having no goods for all our commercial areas to sell. So we had this extra little bit by the water, and at the end of the last video we unlocked the airport, so I figured we'll put that there, and then those always bring in a lot of tourists, so we'll just put some attractions along with it and just kind of make the whole area kind of a touristy, high value spot. So that meant just putting the buildings and then immediately having to work on transit, because it's not great. I could have put a railway line there and I didn't. So buses are the main way that people are going to be traveling here. We do get a metro line. I might put another one because at the end we do end up with a lot of residential kind of at the top of that. But for now we put one metro line, which we're doing here. It's getting really, really difficult to tell one line apart from another, what's metro, what's rail, stuff like that. But I managed to keep the circle going. I think I'm just going to try and keep that the whole time. Realistically, it's not ideal having to go all the way around the city, but I have lines going both directions, so it should more or less do what it needs to. And it has a lot of people using it, so I don't know if it waits kind of how long you would be on that to decide whether they would use that or just drive, but for now at least it seems to be working. And yeah, I figured I would go offices because I'm going to have a lot of services and things like that around there, a lot of tourists, parks, things like that are going to boost the land value and everything. So I figured it'll be another office area, kind of like it is below it, and it's near water, so it just, to me, makes sense. We do end up putting more residential there as well, just for the sake of having people to work in those offices. But yeah, again, because it's offices in this game, you just need to have every single service at least once, preferably even twice. So every public building that exists, more or less, gets placed down. And then here, I didn't want to just put one straight road through. I figured, well, if I make it zigzaggy and do a series of like Ys, it might look different. And also I will later on connect just walking paths, so people don't have to go all the way around, which I think helps the foot traffic again with a lot of tourists and things like that. And I ended up running out of power. I thought that nuclear power plant, the single one that I had, would last me the whole time. Didn't happen. I think with the second one, we'll definitely get to the last tier of city, and then it's just a matter of how long I continue this on, really. But yeah, I realized that now I'm going to have all these residential areas just to the right of the screen right now, so I figured, well, I need another highway access point, of course. For some reason, the hills on this map are just a nightmare, so it didn't really want to let me do what I wanted to do. Like, to me, it looks like there's enough clearance, but to the game there isn't, so I ended up just making it don't think I do on this attempt either. Oh, maybe I did. I just made it one kind of notch higher. And you can see because heights are based off ground level and not just a uniform height that you want. The roundabout takes a weird little dip there, but it kind of works because that's where the road joins up. And these ones, the slope was way too much, so I had to move all the roads back, but I didn't have much there yet, so it was fine. And I end up with just a bit of a mess, but I think it gets to the point where it looks kind of realistic because, like, I'm using Toronto as an example, and its roads are just a nightmare. And I'm not a big fan of the on-ramp being on the bridge, but there wasn't really anything else I could do. That ramp, I thought, worked pretty well. Just had it split to go to the two different roads because I couldn't get it there before it split, so I think it's fairly functional. I didn't see any issues with it while I was playing, and I wouldn't say it looks great, but it looks like it works and it's plausible, I guess, which is good enough for me, so I used it. And then this was just another attempt of just putting every service near the offices, and also the fact that whenever you put new residential buildings, you end up with so many uneducated people because apparently everyone that moves here is just that they haven't learned anything prior to coming here, so I had to put a whole bunch more schools. And yeah, we're actually quite close to Megalopolis, or however that's pronounced, the last tier, so we're getting there. I'd say probably well, it depends. I could just spam residential and probably have it next episode guaranteed, but it might take 2 more. Depends. I haven't decided what the next area I'm going to work on is, and then that's going to more or less control whether I put residential or industrial or commercial or whatever else. So I do have a lot of the city kind of to the right side of the map towards the water more than I originally planned. I wanted that like pond circle thing in the middle to be the center of the city, and that hasn't really happened, so I should probably move to the left in the next episode, but we'll see. I do more or less have this whole shoreline finished by the end of the episode, so we are going to have to move to a different spot. I do have the northern area, which has a lot of oil on it, which is tempting. So we might go there. We'll see. But yeah, this area, yeah, like I was saying, I wanted to add pathways, just to kind of ease off pedestrians having to use vehicles or crossing intersections and things like that. And I think I did a decent job. I probably could have put more down if I hadn't zoned right away. And the end of the highway there, I was considering having it join that road. I'm still not sure if I'm going to or not. It's not going to look great. There's no way I can really have it nicely flow out, but we'll see. I don't think it'll get used that much anyways, even if I do. But yeah, you can see that roundabout that I made is getting used fairly well, and it's not overused, I guess. So I'm pretty happy with that one. There are a couple that I still need to figure out how to just either reroute traffic or remake it. In this area here, I figured, well, there's going to be a lot of tourists. I don't know why I yawn when I do this. So I figured I'll just put like a little shopping complex, because you can't put malls really or anything like that look realistic. And then I put some parking lots near them because I like that they added those, and I should have more of them since you don't really get a realistic amount of parking lot to building ratio compared to real life. But yeah. Yeah, this other area that we made a while ago developed really well. All the offices are pretty much top tier. But yeah, a couple of these spots, there's still too much traffic, so I'm going to have to work on it. I've considered just making like a really, really big circle, but I don't think it would really help solve my problems. I'm just eating a chocolate egg in the middle of this commentary, which probably isn't the best, but oh well. This one's a little more casual because I missed last week, which I'm sure probably one, maybe two people were really upset about. And I mean that in like a good way, like they actually pay attention to this series. But yeah, just too busy, too much stuff going on. Didn't get a chance. I did cut a roadway here because there's just way too many people going into the intersection beside the roundabout. And I realized half of them were just trying to get to this lower area. So I'm hoping that line will help. I may have to just do some serious tearing down to really fix the problem, but I didn't want to do it today. And I just put a bunch more bus lines to try and get people to use that to cross the highway. Because that seemed to be where a lot of the traffic was. It was just people trying to get across the highway and not really go that far. Like it was just right one side to the other. So tried putting a couple lines to see if people would just walk instead. And I had so many lines that were all the same color. And I really wish I had some kind of tool that would randomly pick a color, because I guess there's only like 5 in my head that I can come up with. They all started looking the same. But yeah, like this is a pretty bad spot right here. That roundabout gets a lot of traffic, so I need to try and it's just, I wish I planned that highway out a little better. The highway's in a good spot, but access from one side to the other is horrible. Like there's not enough places that cross and things like that. And I was thinking about putting a road here, but I have a feeling it's just going to tell me that it's too steep, even if I tear all that stuff down. And I don't want to tear it all down because they're all like top tier everything. So it's going to be a little tricky. For some reason, people going around that square to get to the other side of the road, basically, instead of just going in the roundabout and turning around, which to me is a lot easier. But it seems like they'll take whatever the fastest speed limit road is rather than shortest path by time or distance, which isn't great. And then here I had to mess around with intersections because there were just 4 lights side by side, which stopped everything. I think it helped a bit, but there's still a bit of a backlog on the highway, which isn't good. But yeah, I think that's for the most part everything that we do. So we got the airport, we got the area around it pretty much built up. There's a little bit more that I could do, like more areas to zone, but for the most part, they're all zoned and ready. And then it's getting really difficult to get a thumbnail, just because I can't fit everything in, and 2, I can't decide, okay, which 2/3 or whatever to look the best. Because some spots you can really notice the hill with that big tower on top really nicely, but then you can't see half the new stuff. And like I tried zooming in on the airport, but then you can't see anything else. So it's tricky, but yeah, that's about it. See you later. Goodbye. Like, subscribe. Bye.